Talk about something a little bit more serious. So we moved out of the kitchen to the dining room because I have slightly better lighting in here. But someone had asked me about depression and how I feel about depression meds. So I'm going to talk about that. And when I mean depression, I'm not talking about diagnosed schizophrenia or any kind of manic depression. I'm talking about the kind that millions and millions of people are experiencing, and they seemingly have everything. They have a nice house, they have a good job, good relationships, a good family, but they can't just shake it. They can't shake it off. They have this dark cloud over them, and it's almost debilitating. Sometimes they can't get out of bed, and so they look for an answer. And the way pharmaceuticals and Western medicine operates in this country is, here's a script, go take it, come back later and we'll talk. But what I have found through my own experience with depression and through other family members that I'm close to is that if you can get your micronutrients met through food, the depression lifts. You know, if you are healthy and your body is working the way it's supposed to be working, you will be happy. It's a side effect. Now, I'm not talking artificially happy, as if, say your dog dies or a family member dies. Yes, it's natural to feel sad and feel grief and feel depression. But what I'm talking about is this lingering feeling like you're stuck in this tunnel and there is no light at the end of it. And I see hundreds and hundreds of people that are on Paxil, Prozac, Zoloft, Seroquel, all these depression meds, and then they can't find relief, so they go back to the doctor and they say, well, you're anxious, so try some Ativan or Xanax or Klonopin. You put these together and it's like dumping a bucket of gasoline to put out a fire. It just makes everything worse. The side effects of these drugs are pretty hefty. I mean, you have everything from fatigue to drowsiness to hostility to suicidal tendencies. And that, to me, is not an acceptable side effect of any drug. To give someone who is already depressed a drug that's going to make them suicidal seems ludicrous to me, that would ever be okay. So, and unfortunately, I know people that have committed suicide or at least attempted suicide while on depression meds, and it breaks my heart because there is an answer in nature for it. And so two of the things that really are a physical trigger for depression that I have found is sustained physical and emotional stress, adrenal fatigue. You're working 16-hour days, you're going through a divorce, you lose your job, and you're going through financial stress. What that does is causes your adrenal glands to release tons of adrenaline and cortisol to try to balance out this fight or flight syndrome that's going on in your body. And when that can't get burned off or flushed out, or when the stress doesn't end, it damages your neurotransmitters, and that will lower your melatonin, and that leads to depression. And when your adrenal glands burn out, your thyroid gland goes with it. So your thyroid is responsible for a lot of metabolism, how you metabolize food, your mood swings from day to day. So one takes out the other. So it's kind of like a misery loves company situation. The other major thing that will lead to depression is heavy metal toxicity. Now, what does that really mean? It's caused by the toxins in things like aluminum, mercury, fluoride, copper, all these big heavy metals that we are not supposed to ingest, that are, I think everybody's heard of the fish having mercury in tuna especially is a big one for having mercury. soda cans, they're aluminum, they're thin. You put an extremely acidic substance into them and then drink it. So the metal leaches into the soda and you're drinking not only acid, but now you're drinking metal. And these things go into your body and they don't come out, especially if you're eating a high acid, high sugar, high fat diet. And you're not taking the appropriate things and you're not getting the appropriate nutrients from fruits and vegetables to flush them out or encapsulate them and flush them out. So what they do is accumulate in your brain, and they go into your pineal gland, your thalamus gland, your pituitary glands, and that causes damage in all those areas of the brain. And what happens again when you eat that high fat, high acid diet is that they oxidize and they reduce your electrical impulses. So the things that keep you going, keep you on an upbeat from day to day, are completely damaged. So and then that creates depression. So and in addition to heavy metals, you also have all our, tons and tons of food is sprayed with pesticides, herbicides. There's everything from formaldehyde, MSG, artificial sweeteners, artificial flavors, cleaners. Everything is, we are living in a pool of chemicals from day to day. And what that does is it has to accumulate somewhere. So how do you rectify that? You eat a high alkaline diet, you eat fruits and vegetables. There are a few things, and I will list these in the comments because I kind of have to go through a little bit faster, else this is going to be 25 minutes long. There's an herb in Ayurveda called ashwagandha, and that is an adaptogen. So that will help your adrenal glands balance out. So if you're too high, it'll bring it down. If you're too low, it'll bring it up. Spirulina, algae, barley grass, wheatgrass, any kind of seaweed will help remove the heavy metals out of your body. Methyl B12, specifically methyl B12, it has to be, and a B complex will help repair the damage done in your brain system and in your central nervous system. And what happens is when you have heavy metal toxicity at a high rate, over time it causes severe inflammation, depression, anxiety, can lead to neurological disease. What they're finding is Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, which are all hateful diseases. And then when that happens, your adrenal glands, like I talked about the first thing, your adrenal glands and your thyroid glands go with it. So it is one big tornado of toxic junk in your body that is causing this depression. And this is, I'm not giving medical advice. I'm not saying go off your meds and eat fruits and vegetables. What I'm saying is that you have a choice. You don't have to do this, but I want you to do it with the supervision of your doctor. Obviously I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you that from my personal experience that this works. When I got all the chemicals out of my diet, when I went heavy in on the fruits and vegetables, it's like all the lights came back on, and that feeling is almost priceless. When you realize you don't have to be a slave to these drugs. You don't have to worry that you're going to be the one that has the really scary side effect and, do something crazy that could alter your life or end your life. I have a family member, and I'm going to just talk about this briefly. She's pretty open with it, so I'm not divulging any secrets here. But my sister was on bipolar meds and depression meds, and it affected her to the point. Now, she had a pretty junky diet. She smoked. She didn't really take care of herself as far as a nutritional standpoint at that time. But these doctors were giving her meds left and right, all kinds of things. She left her family. she left her children. She almost lost everything. Her physical health was suffering, and she was a lucky one because she was able to recognize it, and she got off the meds. And today she's a success story. She's healthy, she's happy, she's back with her family, and nothing bad happened other than some turmoil in the family. But she was a lucky one. And, you know, I don't do these videos to get any kind of like Facebook fame or whatever. I have this knowledge that I've learned, and this is nothing that's I've made up. I've pulled it from various places. I want everyone to be happy and healthy, and I want everyone to feel as good as I feel. I don't want to see people suffer. I think there's enough suffering in the world as it is, that if your body feels good, if you feel good, everything else will fall in line. And I'm usually not a crier, but this is how passionate I am about this, because I've seen too many people fall through the cracks, and there is an answer, and there is an answer that's in nature, that's easy, that doesn't have to cost you your sanity, doesn't have to cost you your family or your life. So I'm going to end it. If you have any questions, please list it in the comments. If I went through kind of fast, so if there are any questions, by all means, please contact me either through the comments, or if you're not comfortable doing that, you can private message me. I will list those things, the 3 things that I talked about that could help, but get out there and eat some fruits and vegetables.